Hey, 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 and welcome back to Kayla J's Gospel Hour right here on WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live at wordradio.com. I am so excited to be continuing our Faith Stories series today. I'm super excited. We have a great pastor from deep down south out of Texas, Pastor Micaiah Young Sr. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hey there, Kayla. It is such a privilege to be here with you. You are a phenomenal sister, and I'm just excited about having a moment to just share with you.
Oh, I'm excited about your moment, and I can't wait to hear your story and want the folks to listen to your story real good and intently, especially the brothers out there. But before we even dive deep into that, we know we're in a pandemic right now. Have to do a wellness check with you on a scale from 1 to 10. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I am managing well. It's been a challenge, but it's been one that has not been all bitter. There's been some sweetness in this as well. God has been faithful, and I just look forward to being on the other side of this better than we were when we came into it.
That's it right there. I'm looking forward to being on the other side as well. I really am. But let's dig deep into it, y'all. We're here for faith stories, man. I'm going to relinquish the time to you and just tell us a little bit about when you got saved. Do you remember that day? How did it feel? What made you say yes to the Lord?
Sure. First of all, I'll say that I grew up in a home where it was just my mom raising my sister and I. And for her, in order to successfully parent us and deal with, the life challenges that were presented to her, being a single mom, raising children by herself, she really clinged to her faith. That was the foundation that gave her the strength. And so she gave it to us. So we kind of didn't have a choice, right? My mother said, if you're going to live in this house, you're either going to act saved or you're going to be saved. But one way or the other, you're going to act right. So we kind of grew up learning and knowing about God and learning about faith. But I can remember the time that I made a conscious decision that I wanted to really embrace God and get to know Him for myself. I had been getting in some trouble. I wasn't a bad kid, but I just, had some challenges, especially because of my family dynamics and some of the things that I felt I was void of. But there came a time where I was tired of getting in trouble. I was
Mm-hmm.
tired of being labeled. I was tired of a lot of the things that I experienced as a way of just expressing my inner pain that I didn't know how to otherwise discuss. And I knew that God was my answer. And I gave my life to God. I was a child. I gave my life to Him. I've made many mistakes along the way, but I stayed with God because God proved to me that having a relationship with Him is absolutely the best thing that could have ever happened in my life.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. And you really led into the next conversation point of how you stay saved. A lot of folks, we don't check in with folks once they get saved. We say God is going to be the best thing, and He certainly is. But sometimes, it gets a little hard to continue to walk that path that He wants you to walk down. So what did you do to continue to stay on that path with God?
Sure. For me, it was first of all being honest with myself. Right. I think a lot of people fail because they don't realize that our righteousness is no more than filthy rags. This is dirt,
Mm,
right? And so we're going to fail. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do wrong things. We're going to think wrong things. A lot of things are going to happen along the journey. But realizing that the only way that we can be righteous is if we remain in relationship with God and that we are covered by His righteousness. And so being honest with me and remaining engaged in conversation with God about, hey, this is where I am, this is how I'm feeling, these are my struggles, these are my challenges, and just allowing God to always lead and guide me into paths that are greener and that are righteous, and accepting and embracing the grace of God, right? Uh,
mhm.
my mother always told us, she said, you can be up and down, but don't be in and out. right? Stay
Yeah.
there. I preach to people in my church. I say, if you got to come to church from the club, come. If you got to come to church messed up, tore up from the floor, come. Because being in the presence of God and maintaining that connection is what's going to produce the deliverance that you need so that you can be who God wants you to be. Don't run away because people think, I can't come because I'm not perfect, or I'm not saved because I do this and I do that. No, the reason why you need to come to church and come to God is because the only way you will overcome those challenges is if you remain in the presence of God and don't lose that connection.
Wow.
Real. I mean, that's
That's
how you
good
say,
right there.
keep it real.
Yeah, you got to keep it real. You got to keep it real. I want you to talk a little bit about your book. I know you wrote a book. So just let folks know about your book and what really drove you to write that book.
Sure. So the name of my book is Made in His Image, but His Shadow is All I've Seen. Let me say it again: Made in His image, but His shadow is all I've seen. And the title, in and of itself, kind of speaks to my truth. It's a somewhat of a twist on it, because when you think of it initially, you think that I'm strictly talking about God, but really I'm talking about my father,
Yeah.
my biological father, who I look like. I have his features, I have his DNA, but I had never seen my father before. He abandoned me early life, before even sticking around to see what I would look like or who I would become. He abandoned me. So for the first 35 years of my life, I was disconnected from my father. I had no relationship with him. He was hiding from me for 35 years, and I was looking for him for the same 35 years. The pain of rejection, the pain of growing up without being validated by your father, it is a huge pain. It leaves a great void in your life, and it calls for a quest for identity. How do you know who you are if you have not been validated by the person in whose image you were created? And so when I began to get deeper involved in my ministry, and I'm in Wisconsin, and I have worked in the prison system. I've served thousands of guys who have just fallen on hard times, have been involved in criminal behavior and different things that led them to incarceration. Some are dealing with life sentences for things that they have done. Well, I realized that if I was going to better serve them, I needed to look at me and
Mm.
what my challenges were, what my issues were, because there was one thing that I found that was common with 90% of the guys that came in my office. When I asked them, after hearing their story, where was your father? 90% of them said, I didn't know him, he wasn't there, or he either showed me how to do what I did that landed me in this place of incarceration. And so I needed to look at me. And so I wrote my story about my absent father, how it impacted me. But not only that, I went on a journey to find him. And in God's infinite wisdom, he led me to my father. I found him 35 years later on the continent of Africa, the country of Nigeria. My father, I found him and was able to unite with him. Though my story did not end in a fairy tale, I found out that what I really needed, God had given it to me. And so my father was not there because he didn't qualify, but God tutored me himself and made me the man that I am today. And not only do I know who I am in God, I am able to impart into the lives of my own children, because I'm a better father today than my father was not to me, um, because I've been healed in those areas.
I love your story. Every time you hear it, it makes me re-examine myself because, like you, I have an absentee father, and like you, I've been searching. And just hearing your testimony and having snippets of the book is just truly, truly helped me. So before I let you go out of here, because I know we're short on time, to the young brothers, to the young sisters that are out there that are like you, that are trying to do this journey of faith, but they have that rejection, that they have that spirit of rejection hovering over them, that spirit of guilt, because maybe they feel that this is their fault, that their parents are not there, whether it's their mother or their father. What is your advice to them to keep going and to know that God is our Father and we have everything in Him?
Well, I think that's it, Kayla. Just to know that you are who you are because God says you are. not because of who does or does not validate you. My father to this day does not want his family to know that I exist. But his validation of me, though it would have been very important early in my life, because I realized that he does not qualify and he's not willing to give that, I had to learn how to grieve the loss of my expectations. I expected to have that, but I didn't get it. But just because I didn't get what I deserved from my father does not mean that I'm not who God says I am. You have to know that God created you for a purpose. And if you were not valuable, God would not have wasted breath, bones, and skin to create you and to allow you to exist. So you must know who you are and identify with the characteristics of God. That's why I say, I've started a movement, I am a son. Because though my father has rejected me, God has accepted me. And I'm a son. And Kayla, you're a daughter.
That's good right there. And we're going to end it right there. But I already know in my spirit, I'm going to have to invite you back
I would love
to
to.
even join us with our purpose series.
Yes,
But let the folks know how to find you on social media to worship with you on Sundays. And I'm
sure.
sorry, you're in Wisconsin
Yes.
to let folks know how to get in touch with you.
But let me tell you something. You said Texas. People keep telling me I'm going to Texas. So you prophesying to me. Good God from on high. Texas, here I come.
Here you go.
But listen, you can find me. I am Micaiah Young Senior on Facebook, Micaiah Young Ministries on Facebook. I'm MJ Young Senior on Instagram. The church I pastor is the Life Center, Milwaukee. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram. Just find me and let me know who you are. Also, speak to me. I want to speak back to you.
Awesome. Pastor Young, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your faith story. I appreciate you, man of God.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Awesome. Again, that was Pastor Micaiah Young Sr. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms and follow his ministry. I'm telling you, he's a wonderful man of God, great word, and he'll make you laugh. He got a good sense of humor. All right. But you're listening to Kayla J's Gospel Hour right here on WURD Radio. It's time to get back to the music.